Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. According to Reuters and many other news sources, this story isn't even 24 hours old yet, at least at the time of me shooting this video. Spotify hit with $1.6 billion copyright lawsuit for failing to pay what seems like some mechanicals off of songs by The Doors, Weezer, Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty, Neil Young, which is pretty huge. I think at the end of the day, this is most likely just going to be just a bill that the company foots, assuming that the courts do land on the side of the artists and the industry here. Also assuming that this would even go to court. Most likely, they're probably going to find some way to settle this because Spotify is about to go out on the stock market, and I don't think it would be very good, and that's supposed to be happening this year, and I don't think it would be very good optics for them to be locked into this lawsuit in this court case while they're, I don't know the terminology of it because I'm not some Wall Street douchebag. But as Spotify enters the stock market, it's not going to look very good for them to have this lawsuit on their plate. So they may be incentivized to just kind of like make it go away and just sort of just make it disappear. Listen, guys, I'm not an expert in copyright law, so and this article and many other articles are not really down to the super nitty-gritty details, like what exactly it is that Spotify is getting pinched on, because there are a lot of reasons that you end up paying for the performance of a song, and some of the legalities of this in the streaming age can be kind of gray because things are just much more different than they were back in the day when you were just sort of performing or broadcasting songs over the radio. However, I feel like things being new, things being different, the media landscape changing is really no excuse for Spotify, in my opinion. You guys make tons of money every month. Tons of money is passing through that company every month. A lot of that money being profit. And you guys have lawyers. You have lawyers. And these lawyers have to be telling you, or they have to be aware of what the laws are, what the rules are, what exactly it is you're paying for every month. And I get it that the music industry can be pretty greedy, can really go after you if they feel like they are entitled to $1, $10, $20. You know, I mean, back in the day, they were going after people for friggin', kids and their families for freaking downloading music over P2P services. So it doesn't surprise me that when these companies feel like they're owed something by a place like Spotify, they go after them. And hey, I don't see Spotify as necessarily this 100% honest actor either. Spotify has been shown to be a kind of greedy company as well. So, I feel like there's not exactly an angel to sort of play off of the devil in the situation. You just kind of have two corporate media titans going at each other because one feels like the other owes them money. And that's essentially what this is at the end of the day. Hopefully the artists see some of that money. I'm not exactly sure if they will. It just kind of seems like at the end of the day that this is stuff that the record company feels like it's already been owed, as opposed to royalties that they're yet to pay out. Whether or not Spotify pays them, I imagine in the contracts of artists like Neil Young, Tom Petty, etc., that the money still needs to be paid to them or their estates, whether the company has sort of accrued that money or not. But it doesn't look very good for Spotify for them to continue to be caught up in lawsuits and legal dramas like this because they're sort of skirting the rules, I assume. Because again, being a new company is not really an excuse, and Spotify isn't that new. Music streaming didn't just get here yesterday. It's a pretty well-established thing. And in a lot of ways, I admire Spotify for being the canary in the coal mine and being on the cutting edge and sort of advancing this whole idea of music streaming, despite the fact that the music industry that is slapping them with a lawsuit right now did almost everything in their power to sort of slow the process down so that we wouldn't get to where we are now. But now that it seems like everybody's making money, record labels have figured out how to make more money off of streaming. More people are streaming than ever before, and the streaming services that are out there are somewhat plentiful. You have a good handful of options. It's not the most competitive market out there, but it's certainly more competitive than friggin' ISPs. Now that that's all a little bit more settled and the players are a little bit more established, there's really no excuse for Spotify not to be playing by the rules. And again, if they're going to be going out into the stock market and they're going to be asking people to buy stock in their company, like, they need to actually play by them to prevent things like this from happening, because it's going to make investors less likely to invest in the company. So I think this is most likely going to go away quietly. If this draws out into a very ugly legal battle, it's not going to be good for Spotify's optics. At the end of the day, it's not going to be the record labels who look bad. It's going to be Spotify. I think that's all I have to say about this right here. I don't think it's going to sink the company or anything. Spotify most likely has or will make this money. And even if they do end up losing this money, I don't think they're probably going to go anywhere as a service. Most likely there will be other investors and other people willing to jump on board because and maybe run this thing correctly. Because music streaming, again, it seems like it's becoming more and more profitable, and it's truly not going anywhere. So hopefully these predictions and assumptions I'm making turn out to be true. It would suck to sort of see Spotify go completely belly up because, again, at the end of the day, that's just going to mean one less player in the music streaming realm. It's not going to mean anything for music streaming in general. Music streaming is still going to be there. It's not going anywhere. We're in that era. Something like this lawsuit isn't going to make that just evaporate or disappear. So let me know what you guys think down in the description. And excuse me, I'm a little foggy because of my sinuses. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out, and you guys are the best. I'll see you in the next video. Anthony Fantano, Spotify, lawsuit forever.